Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo. Bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We're coming to you from the beautiful, wonderful, historical neighborhood of Reedville, located in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We're so very honored and absolutely delighted that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. You can join us in this mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, Audible, CastBox, Player FM, wherever you find your favorite shows. We have a super star-studded episode for you today. First up, singer, songwriter, and now author Christina Perri is here to celebrate 1,000 years, her brand new debut picture book. And later in the show, we'll be taking a listen back to a conversation we had a few years ago with international children's recording artist Rafi. This episode is brought to you by The Mystery of Mystic Mountain, a great middle grade novel by Janet Fox. Becca Soloway's perfect summer goes up in smoke when her mom flees a looming divorce by dragging Becca to a Montana resort. To make matters worse, her mom's hasty booking lands them not at a luxury spa, but at an aging dude ranch called Far Away. Becca is miserable until she meets the wrangler's son, John, who shows her what might be the first clue to a century-old mystery, the lost treasure of a Robin Hood-like outlaw known as Pearl Handle Pete. You and your kids are going to love this book, The Mystery of Mystic Mountain by Janet Fox. It deserves a place in your family library. Hey, parents, grandparents, caregivers, and teachers, are you looking for a fun way to teach important values to your kids? Check out Timothy'sLessons.com.
It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values. It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values. Teaching life lessons to his friends. It's Timothy's Lessons. Forward thinking activities. It's Timothy's Lessons. Building confidence and mental strength. It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values. It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values. Wonderful fun sing-along songs. It's Timothy's Lessons. Important lessons on key values. It's Timothy's Lessons. Children's books and uplifting stories. It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values. It's Timothy's Lessons. Timothy's Lessons in good values.
Check it out today, Timothy'sLessons.com. Hey families, would you like to share a miracle with your kids? At the Wolf Conservation Center, hope was fading. The endangered Mexican wolves dreamed of a pup, but none had come. Until one tiny miracle changed everything. Meet Trumpet, a real-life wolf pup whose incredible birth brought joy, hope, and a lesson in conservation. Trumpet the Miracle Wolf, written by Leocadia George, is a heartwarming true story that will inspire your whole family. Teach your kids the power of hope, love, and protecting endangered species. Get your copy today and join the wild adventure. Join us right now from Los Angeles in beautiful California. Our guest is here today to celebrate her debut children's picture book. It's called 1,000 Years. Please welcome to the show singer, songwriter, and now author Christina Perri. Hey, Christina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Delighted to have you on. Tell me, I was reading some of the lyrics to 1,000 Years, and I'm not a mom, but I'm a dad, and I can absolutely relate to what you're writing.
Oh, thank you. That was my hope for the book.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the book. I'm not going to try to recite your lyrics because I'll mash them up, and I'm sure you'll be able to do it much better than I.
Sure. Well, so what I did for this book is it's inspired by my song, A Thousand Years, but it's not identical to the song because I feel like it's really hard to, when you're putting a little kid to bed and holding them, like, it doesn't make sense to say, like, I have died every day waiting for you. I feel like that's a little harsh. So I went back in and sort of reimagined, like, what is that? What am I actually saying there? That's very dramatic and it sings fine, but like, I'm really just saying I've spent every day waiting for you. I've waited my whole life for you. And so I kind of went into each part of the song like that, with that filter, and was like, okay, how would I say this to my child versus, all those years ago, I was singing about a wedding between two vampires. It was very different. So now it's like, the love of a parent to a child. So it was really cool to get to do that. It was really fun to sit down with each part of the song and the verses and the choruses and be like, okay, how does this tell a story, and what story does it tell? Because so many people are so connected to this song, and I feel so grateful to be part of people's wedding day, people's, birthday, people's, cute videos of their puppies and kittens and, all these things they use this song for. So I was like, I felt a great honor, but also like I had to do a good job and do it justice to turn it into this now children's picture book. So I think I did a good job. I think it mixes the lyrics with a story and basically just describing in this book the first couple years of my child's life, and letting her know how much I love her as she grows and goes off to school. So it's like, it's a bittersweet moment, but it's filled with eternal love.
Yeah. I love that. It's interesting. You were talking about, you felt a responsibility with the book. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to write a cute little book. It's like, there are a lot of people out there that love this song and the feelings behind it. I have to do a good job.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I mean, I honestly can't take much credit. People ask me all the time, like, can you believe it has like 2 billion views or 1 billion streams or all these things? And I'm just like, no, I can't believe it. But also that's not me. That's not like, that's everybody else. Like I can't take credit for that. Everybody who listens to the song, streams the song, buys the book. Like, I'm just grateful that people love this little tiny piece of art that I made all those years ago in 2011. And they have given it life. They keep breathing new life into it as like, no, this is our wedding song. No, this is our baby song. No, this is our baby's book. Like, I don't know what's next. We'll see. We'll see how it evolves. But like, I definitely feel a sense of, mostly gratitude that people, feel so connected to this thing. But yeah, I can't take all the credit. I really feel like I'm being of service to the fans of this song.
Yeah. I really love that. I remember, there was a famous Boston band when they were just coming up, and they had a huge hit. And I went to see them as they were opening up for a bigger national act at the time. And, everybody wanted them to sing their hit song. And they said, no, we're tired of that. And that was disappointing to say the least. But I've heard that from other artists. It's like, oh, that's 10 years old. It's 15 years old. How do you keep breathing new life into the song and now into the book, for so long?
Well, I think because I've let it evolve. I mean, to be fair, if I think about, when I sing Jar of Hearts, which was my first single from 2010, when I sing that song, I do feel like it's 2010 when I sing it because it's never changed. It's always been the same, and it's the same feelings and emotions. And, when I play it on stage, it brings me back. Whereas what's really fascinating is what you're pointing out. I've never really even thought about it this way, that this song, because it's evolved over all these years, it doesn't feel like it's going backwards for me. It feels like, each new season of my life, the song has taken on a new life of its own. And then in that way makes it feel a part of this new version of me and this new version of me. Because as I was, like I said, I wrote it for vampires back in 2011 when that was my favorite book and my favorite movie. And then I grew up and I got married. I fell in love. I had babies. My life kept changing. And then in real time, the song was sort of growing up with me, which is crazy to think of. I mean, it's a song, you know, but like if you really zoom out and look at it that way, it's really interesting that it doesn't feel old to me because it has grown up too. And so I wonder if that's the secret. I wonder if all those bands that, you know, hate their first singles, like, should just keep reimagining them every couple decades, you know, or every so often, because it would maybe make them feel closer to it. So I still feel very close to the song, to where I don't feel a departure from who I am right now when I sing it. I feel it's even cuter. Like, it keeps getting cuter to me. Like the fact that I laugh with my friends because I was like Miss Jar of Hearts with the combat boots and the angst and the blonde streak in my hair, and I'm dating all these terrible guys, and and they're like, could you ever imagine like going back in time and telling the 23-year-old version of you that like in 15 years you're going to be singing songs to children and like having a children's season of your life? And I'm just like, I mean, it's hilarious to me. I'd be like, no way that would be me. But like, it feels so right. If I love being a mom, I love my daughters, I love the gentleness and like the sweetness that comes with singing this song in this way. It's really enjoyable for me, which I feel like that also has to happen for an artist to want to do it. You know what I mean? So it must not be enjoyable anymore for some of these artists that don't like their biggest hits. They're probably just like, I can't find fulfillment or joy in performing it. But for me, I feel very lucky that I have yet to not feel joy in performing 1,000 Years.
That's wonderful. Tell me what was the reaction of your kids the first time you sat down and read this book with them?
So it's really cute. My oldest is 7, and she's the little girl in the book because we started working on this book really almost 4 years ago. It's been a long time. And so Joy Ruiz, who is the illustrator, who is just the sweetest person on earth, she followed my music already. She followed me on Instagram. She kind of saw me becoming a mom. So she knew I had a daughter, Carmela. She knew I had that my daughter had a little bunny that was always in every photo with her. Like, she really pulled from my life to start creating this book. And so all those years ago is how old Carmela looked when we started. And now Carmela's 7. And I have another little girl who looks just like Carmela, who's the same age as the girl in the book, who's 2.5. And so her name is Pixie. And so she thinks that the girl in the book is her when Carmela knows it's her. So the two of them love this book because they each think it's them. And they like, feel so, I don't know, proud of it because it's like, look at me and mommy. And so what's wild is now my 7-year-old reads it to my 2.5-year-old. So like, I sit there, like, I've been reading picture books to them their whole lives so far. And now my 7-year-old learned to read this year. She's in the 1st grade. And so now she'll read it and we'll sit there and like, what is life? Like, that's the cutest thing in the whole world. I can't even handle it.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I love that image. And that's what we're all about here, is encouraging families to read together. And what a sweet picture. Your daughter reading to her sister. And I imagine, I mean, people listening to this can't see, but you're beaming as you're telling me the story. You just, all lit up. Yeah. You talked about working so hard to transform the song into a book that kids are going to love. Was that a fun process for you, kind of telling stories in a very different genre?
Yeah, honestly, it was. Oops, did I lose you? Oh, no.
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay, my computer just shifted. Oh, there we go. What was I just going to say? You said, was it difficult? No, it was so enjoyable for me because I've never done this before. And so I feel like anytime an artist gets to do, I don't know, a new form of art, like it was exciting and sort of thrilling to see if I could. I feel like a lot of people have said to me how hard children's books are because they're so short. And I was thinking, well, songs are really short too. Like, I'd imagine if I was a novelist or if I was like trying to make some gigantic story into a children's book, it might be harder. But I was already taking a tiny song and turning it into a tiny book. So I feel like it was not a challenge for me in that way. It was really fun, like I said, to reimagine, but the lyrics were already there. I just kind of had to move them around like little puzzle pieces and have it tell the story. So I really enjoyed it, but I think also the most fun was going back and forth with the illustrator because here she is, bringing my vision to life in a visceral way, and like the colors of this book are just so extraordinary to me. I mean, I see kids' books all the time. I'm literally reading them every day. And like, I just love the tone of this book. Like, there's one page that's my favorite, which says that I have spent every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I'll love you for 1,000 years. It's basically the chorus. But it's a double page, and she's like in the night sky, the mom, and her little daughter's on her back with wings. And it just feels so sweet to me. Like that page feels like the whole tone of the whole thing. Like the song, I have lullaby albums for my daughters, and it feels like that page. Do you know what I mean? Like visually, I feel like she just like nailed this, this essence that I have now singing to my daughters, and like what it would look like. Like I always think, if I close my eyes, what do I see? And it's like that page. So that to me was the most fun part, was going back and forth with Joy and her being so wonderful and collaborative. I mean, I feel like I actually heard a lot of writers and illustrators don't go back and forth, and they kind of keep them separate for a lot so I didn't know that because I've never done it before. So I was like, no, wait, we've been talking the whole time. And she just kept, making it more and more and more wonderful. And so, yeah, every part of it I really enjoyed. I actually can't wait to do more. I just told everyone at Penguin, because I wanted to wait till this came out, but like I have so many more ideas, and I didn't want to say anything until now, but I literally just told everyone like yesterday, like, okay, I have my idea for the next one. And so I really hope I get to do it again.
Well, are you thinking that is going to be another version of a song turned into a children's book, or are you going to start from scratch?
No, I have another song that I think will be perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's interesting, as you started talking about going back and forth with your illustrator. I too, when I started this, I had really no idea what the children's book business was all about. And when I heard that authors and illustrators didn't collaborate, with that ongoing communication, I was really surprised.
Yeah, me too.
I was equally surprised today when I'm hearing you say, "Oh yeah, we're going back and forth." I'm like, "Oh, that's not supposed to happen." But,
I know.
Was that something that was a little difficult for you to kind of let somebody else tell part of the story?
No, honestly, and maybe it's because I just paired up with the absolute most perfect person for me. You know what I mean? Like maybe it would have been completely different if it was someone else. I have to maybe credit the chemistry between me and Joy, and again, not knowing the other way. Like I didn't know there was a different way to do this. So I just, thought it was cool to go back and forth with her, and didn't have any resistance or anything, because I didn't dislike anything she did. I mean, maybe I just got really lucky, but she just kept, nailing it. I remember we would get, certain edits or, approving certain details, and I would add some stuff like, hey, can you give, like I remember saying that I wanted the mom in the book to kind of look like a millennial mom, like t-shirt, jeans, tattoos, ponytail, kind of messy, and like not super skinny. Like I remember thinking like, in my years of family building, from the first time I got pregnant to 2 years after I was pregnant, I wasn't super skinny, and I wanted that to be relatable in the person in the book, and so those were like my only details. I didn't have I guess I just really was open, because I was like, I loved everything that she had done before. Like I had already looked through all her stuff, and so I didn't really say like have it, do this and this and this. Like she just really got it. Like I said, maybe I'm super lucky, but she was so good at it. And every time, we would go back and forth, I'd only, barely have any notes. So I got really lucky with her.
That's awesome. You mentioned, I don't know if a lot of people think of songwriters and singers as storytellers, but I certainly do. Do you create stories for your girls as you're reading the books? Do you kind of sit down and just kind of go off and improv stories as you're spending time with them?
It's really funny. We do. So we have a couple different things we'll do, my husband and I. My husband is very, very good at this. Like I actually think he should write down some of his improv on the spot made up stories, because I think they're amazing. Like we'll be putting both our girls to bed at the same time, and they'll say they're in charge, as I'm sure you know, and so they choose whether they want to book us to make up a story, or we'll play a story on their little hatch, like their little sound machine. We'll play stories. So it's like they decide which one it's going to be. And most of the time it's a picture book, but sometimes they'll ask for a story. And so it's either me or my husband. We take turns. Sometimes we do halfsies, and I'll say half and he'll say the other half. But most of the time it's Paul, because he is just phenomenal at it. He's come up with these characters that my daughters talk about for days. You know what I mean? Like he'll come up with like this frog and you know, the family and the drama or whatever. And then the girls will still keep talking about it. So he's better than me at it, but we do that. So we'll go, once upon a time, there was a princess named Pixie, and you know what I mean? And we'll improv. And so that's really fun. That's like, I feel like that's also a writer thing. Like, I feel like maybe not everyone can do that. And I think it's because I do love telling stories. I also loved, in college, like, you know, creative writing. Like I had, you know, I always thought maybe one day I'd be an author. Like I actually wrote like journals and journals and journals and journals. So I love being a writer. So actually it's kind of blowing my mind that I get to attach author to my sort of name and like the things I do, because I have always dreamed about doing that. And like I said, I hope I get to do more and more, but I enjoy telling stories and making stuff up and playing make-believe. And I do that every day with my girls. That's the exact age they are. Like every day we're making stuff up. So it feels really, you know, it feels fun to be able to bring that into my career.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember my kids are now adults, 29 and 31, but we would do that, you know, creating stories. And evidently there was one story that was really fun. And the next night the kids asked me to continue on with it. And I had no idea what they were talking about and could never.
Wow. Yeah.
It was there and then it just disappeared.
Wow. Yeah. Love that.
Tell me, have you now you've obviously toured, you know that you've touched people with your singing because you're there right in front of them. You can hear the applause and the screams. I'm wondering, have you taken time to sit down and imagine all the families that are going to be curled up on a couch reading 1,000 Years together?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I just got really emotional. Yes, I actually, well, the good thing about social media is that people have already started sending me pictures. So like in my inbox, you know, on my Instagram, I'm seeing little kids holding the book or parents, you know, holding a child in their lap and reading it. So I can visually, like, I can see it. People are showing me, but I think that's the thing that feels the best, is like actually knowing that my book is in that library that is so special. Like, because I have 2 small children and because I know the intimate moment at nighttime, every single night is like, you know, I think it's every parent's favorite moment of the day. Like, because it's when your kids tell you what they did at school finally. You know, you ask them all day, how was school? And they don't remember until it's bedtime. And they're like, oh, yeah, actually this thing happened. So it's like my favorite time to connect with my 7-year-old. It's definitely my favorite time to connect with my 2.5-year-old, because she's so snuggly and cute and still wants to snuggle me. And like, you know, these are such intimate moments. And, I know exactly what it feels like. Like, you know what I mean? I can picture it. I can feel it. I can see it in my head. So the honor, like, it's overwhelming how it feels to know that I might be included in that moment, and my words and you know, my story and these illustrations of my little girl. Like, you know, it's like, it's just amazing. It's literally, and again, I have had so many cool variations of my career where, you know, I've been, you know, people play my song when they're walking down the aisle. And that is such a sweet moment, whether it's with the parent or, you know, someone walking them down the aisle because their parent passed away. Like, that moment of walking down the aisle is so special to the person, you know, like, I don't take that for granted at all. I imagine that is a moment they're never going to forget. And I get to be the soundtrack. Like, how cool is that? So I've been like, I've already had moments of my career where I feel so blessed that, like, I'm there. And funny enough, whenever someone says like, oh, I played your song at my wedding, I always say, thanks for having me, because I feel like I'm there, you know, And in a way I am. Like I am a part of this moment. So yeah, that is the coolest. Thank you for acknowledging that. That is the coolest moment I think about this whole thing is, being an author and having a book. It's really cool. But like actually knowing that it might help a child like go to sleep or feel loved is like the coolest thing so far maybe I've ever done.
Well, I certainly think that 1,000 years is going to help families and kids especially feel loved. It's a beautiful sentiment. And I think you express it in a perfect way. It was something when my son was born, my firstborn, I had never articulated it, but it was like, dude, I've been waiting for you to get here for a long time.
Yeah. Right? It's like we've always known them and we always will. It feels, endless.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Is there, you singer, songwriter, author, is there anything that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Great question. I do feel like there is a bucket list, but I am about to do a new thing for me. I'm in the middle. I've been working about 8 months on this project of writing all the music and lyrics for a brand new kids show. So I feel like that's like the next maybe step for me. And I'm so excited about it. And, I get to stay in the kids space a little bit longer. So hopefully there's the kids show, maybe another kids book. Like, I just want to stay here as long as I can because I just love how it feels and I feel grateful to be here. But, that's next up on my list is a little TV show.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you have an open invitation to come back on Reading with Your Kids for your book, for your TV show, for any other project you might have.
Thank you so much.
Where can people go to find out more about 1,000 years and to find out more about you?
Sure. So at Christina Perri on my Instagram, there's a link in my bio and it kind of has everything I'm up to, everything I'm working on, everything I, have for sale, everywhere I stream. It's kind of the everything link. So you can find it there or on my Facebook or I guess that's it. Google.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of 1,000 Years. It's a debut picture book from our guest, Christina Perri. Christina, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by We're Going to the Dinosaur Forest, written by Marie Nichols. Marie Nichols was recently on my Connecticut Book Festival's podcast, and what a delightful woman. One of the things she said really struck home with me. She said, parents nurture with care, siblings are taught to share, but grandparents embrace the dares. We're Going to the Dinosaur Forest is a colorful, fun-filled book where this grandmother dares to embark on a wild journey with her grandson into the dinosaur forest. It's available on Amazon. It's also available on bookshop.org. You and your kids and you and your grandkids are going to love this book. It's We're Going to the Dinosaur Forest, written by Marie Nichols. My friends, if you have ever thought about owning a business that's fun, rewarding, and makes a valuable contribution to kids' education, well, Brooklyn Robot Foundry is calling your name. I recently met Jenny Young. She's the founder of Brooklyn Robot Foundry. And let me tell you, she is incredible. Her passion for getting kids excited about STEAM, that's STEM plus art, it's contagious. I'm telling you. This isn't your average kids program. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is all about hands-on, screen-free STEAM fun. These kids get to build a different robot each class and take it home with them afterwards. Kids love it. Parents are raving about it. And now you can own a franchise and bring this incredible experience to families in your community. Now, this isn't your typical franchise. Brooklyn Robot Foundry is a mobile, flexible business with a deep curriculum that's making a real impact in schools and communities around the country. Franchise owners get a proven curriculum, full training, and support from a passionate team. So what are you waiting for? Please visit bit.ly/RobotJed. That's bit.ly/RobotJed. And let them know you heard about it on Reading with Your Kids. Hey, my friends, here's something to think about. What if mistakes weren't something to fear, but something to celebrate. In It's Okay Not to Know by Brenda Doe, young readers meet Bink, a lovable little monster who worries they're not good enough when they struggle or make mistakes. But then, Bink discovers a powerful truth. Every uh-oh is an opportunity. Every question is a chance to grow. And every child deserves to know perfection isn't what makes you special. Curiosity, courage, and self-love do. A must-read for parents, teachers, and anyone who wants to help kids build resilience and confidence. Get your copy of It's Okay Not to Know by Brenda Doe today, because learning begins when we stop fearing the unknown. Joining us right now from beautiful British Columbia in the wonderful nation of Canada. Our guest today, he has been the soundtrack to so many people's lives. Please welcome to the show internationally known recording artist, Rafi. Hey, Rafi, how are you?
Hello, I'm well, thanks. How are you, Jed?
I'm delighted today. I'm delighted to meet you and have you here on the podcast. So many people grew up listening to your music and being comforted and inspired by that. I was talking with one of my interns earlier, and the first thing, as soon as I mentioned your name, he said, banana phone. And I said, So what's it like knowing that you've had such an influence on so many children?
Well, I've been fortunate to have a career that's now in its fifth decade. The longevity is a great honor, to know that the songs that make me welcome as a friend to families in millions of homes, that tradition still continues. And what a privilege to earn the warm trust and love of my young fans. It's just a beautiful experience, a musical career that I could not have dreamed of, but one that I cherish every single day still.
Yeah. Well, you have a new project, and we're definitely going to be speaking about that. But I just, as you said, you never dreamed of having this career. Did you, in your younger years, dream of being the rock star and traveling all over the world doing rock?
Well, maybe a folky star, not a rock star. I dreamed of being a James Taylor type, and somehow along the way, my performances for adults were okay, but they never really caught fire, as it were. And then I came to discover the value of making music for young children. Mm-hmm. And how much of an aid music is to the social and emotional learning and development in young children. So when I found out I was good at it, that's what people kept saying. I made this initial album called Singable Songs for the Very Young, and it became such an instantly popular album that it then, birthed other albums, more singable songs, The Corner Grocery Store, and then in 1980, Baby Beluga. And that album, I think, as much as any, just kind of paved the way for a growth of the followers that I had and fans. Banana Phone was in 1994, if you can believe that.
Wow. And
the concerts themselves, I think, propelled a lot of this because fans came to theaters, and packed the halls, and it was as though the songs that they knew that I had recorded were the toys that we played with when we were together in a music hall, because you don't sing to children, you sing with them, you sing for them, and sing along, it became the way of my concerts, singing along together.
What a wonderful image that your songs were the toys that you played with together with the kids in your audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So neat. You have a new project that folks are really excited about. It's called Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times. Can you tell us a little bit about this, please?
Yes, I'm delighted to be releasing this album. It'll be released in May, but already the first single from it is out. It's called Three Kind Mice. And I had the pleasure of making this music with a fine singer who lives in the Boston area called Lindsay Monroe. Lindsay Monroe is a fine singer and songwriter with a golden voice. And this is the third album where she and I, are singing together. And I produced all these 3 albums in the last 3 years, actually. And so nursery rhymes for kinder times. The idea is quite simple. A lot of the old nursery rhymes that we know, including Three Blind Mice or Rockabye Baby, The Cradle Falls and such, they have lyrics that are, potentially quite disturbing or frightening for kids. A woman who's a music educator, longtime music educator, Pam Gittleman of Cambridge, actually, she came to me and she said, I would love to refresh these old nursery rhymes with new lyrics that I have done, she said, and she had wonderful lyrics. And it only called me to adapt a little bit here and there, the lyrics that she had already adapted. And where there were no melodies to speak of to some of these nursery rhymes, I provided melodies. And so we came up with Humpty Dumpty. When he fell, his friends came to his aid. We came up with Rockabye Baby, The Cradle. Well, a brother and a sister peeked in to add, to bring comfort to the baby in the cradle. London Rain is falling down, not the bridge. So, these are, hopefully new and improved nursery rhymes that a generation of children may make their own. And I'm very happy about that. And wait till you hear Lindsay Monroe sing on this album. It's just her voice and mine, I've been told, go very well together.
Awesome.
So happy about that.
That's so wonderful. Why do you think, because we've talked a lot on the podcast with different authors who have taken fairy tales and updated them to make them kinder, more inclusive, more diverse. Why in the world do you think that at one time people would write poems for kids about 3 blind mice and a woman cutting off their tails? It just boggles my mind.
It's hard to know why, it went that way. We certainly lived in very different times 100 years ago, obviously, or whenever these original rhymes emerged. I think there was a sense that, it couldn't hurt children to know how the real world is, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And we've come a long way from that sentiment. Now we think about giving children life-affirming early experiences, positive experiences that can encourage them to play in the theater of their imaginations without fear, without undue trepidation. So I think positive early experience is what children deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's what they need.
Yeah. I was looking at the information that the publicist sent over, and it's such a wonderful idea to take these rhymes and to create them anew for a new audience, to be more positive, to be comforting. I really, really love that. What's the reaction been to folks who've had sneak peeks and sneak listens to
it's been so positive. They love it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ring Around the Rosie is now Ring Around Sweet Roses. And we don't all fall down at the end and die. We take roses to the teacher. We take roses to mom, and so there's such a lovely, cheerful, supportive feeling in all of these songs. And by the way, I'm also told that the melodies I came up with are quite catchy. So I'm glad for that feedback too, because music that's melodic and well made, that's what you want to listen to. You don't want to listen to something just because it's the right thing to listen to. You want to listen to something that's fun. So this is a fun, tender, and loving album, I would say, with a lot to give to young fans and their families.
Yeah. We talk, of course, Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're all about encouraging families to spend time reading together. But I also
I think we talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. But before we do, I'm one of the things I'm hoping is that parents would become more conscious and intentional about the music that they listen to with their kids. I had an experience many years ago. My beautiful wife and I were running a summer camp for kids from 5 to 15, and we were taking this inner city kids, and we're taking them to a pool, and I'm driving in the van, and one of the older kids turns on the radio, and it's a hip-hop song, and I just wasn't quite listening until I noticed that the 3 and 4-year-olds were singing the lyrics, and then I realized, and then I actually heard what the lyrics were, and I said, shut this off. And I don't think adults pay enough attention to what they might be listening to and what they might be listening to with their kids in the car or in the van with them.
I would like to think more and more that people are, becoming more considerate that way. You raise a very good point, of course. And certainly there's now ample music for young children. I mean, more than enough for the playlist to be quite broad and deep, and
Yeah. So you said you wanted to talk about reading with your kids. Tell us, why do you think it's so important?
Reading with young children, especially, it has a magic all its own. There you are, and your young one is snuggled up right beside you, maybe in your lap, or just right beside you, and you've got your arm around them possibly, or you're holding the book with your hands. As I often say to my young friend who's with me, I say, okay, you get to turn the page, okay? Okay. So I'll go, okay, and then they'll turn the page. And then I'll read a little bit, pointing to the words sometimes, with my finger. I say, okay. And they'll turn the page because they love that. They love to have something to do. But what they love and what I love is we're enjoying each other's company in a wonderful, warm, feeling kind of way, because we're enchanted by the mystery that reading brings, These words on the page aren't just words, they're sound clips to different vistas and different, thoughts and feelings and whimsy and humor. And what a lovely thing it is to read with a young child. There's almost nothing I enjoy more except maybe singing with young children. It's really something.
Yeah. That is one of the reasons people ask me, why did you start the Reading with Your Kids podcast? And that's exactly why. I know that the relationship that I have now with my adult kids began when they were 2 and 3 and 4 years old, sitting on my lap reading together and having those conversations and continuing to read with them and co-read with them as they grew older. And, and now when they're 26 and 29, we can still continue to sit down and have those conversations about books or movies or television or just life.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And, there are books based on my songs, too. Some of them are in board book form because apparently real young ones like to eat them. Or I shouldn't say eat them, bite them, right? Anyway, so there's Baby Beluga, Down by the Bay. Just recently there was Everything Grows and a few other titles as well. And I'm delighted that they're so popular with the very young.
Yeah. We had an author on that created board books made out of that Tyvek plastic stuff that we use to insulate our houses. It can be safe for kids to munch on, and then they won't get the cardboard in their mouth.
I see. Well, okay then. So long as the plastic, if it is plastic, you'd hope that wouldn't be problematic, right?
Yeah, evidently it's not. They did all sorts of testing with it.
Let me say, all the board books that I produce of my songs are made with chlorine-free paper and chlorine-free board. This is very important. So that's good for parents to know.
Absolutely. It's wonderful that you've put so much thought into the music you're creating, into the books that you're creating. So many people take shortcuts because it's easier, it's cheaper, we can make more money.
No.
What's driving you to take that care?
What drives me to care as much as I do is simple. It's a word called respect. I respect my young audience. I respect children for the whole people that they are. They deserve our best consideration, not our second or third best. They deserve, all the care that we can take, or all the care we can put into the products that they're going to hold with their hands and so on. In every aspect of our relationship with children, we have opportunities to show that we respect them. And it's my delight and it gives me joy to do so in as many ways as I can.
Yeah.
What they deserve.
My friend, we have so many, obviously, parents and teachers who listen to the show, and a lot of those parents and teachers are authors or aspiring authors. And I know in talking to them, so many of them have a dream of going into schools and doing school visits and presentations and shows. What advice can you give to them as they're developing their shows to make sure that what they're bringing to kids is as wholesome and enriching as possible?
Well, I usually say do what you love, and, with children, when you approach your audience with respect, your repertoire is going to be respectful of their, early years. Your vocabulary is going to be such that they understand the words. They can reach up a little bit, but you want to be, not presenting anything negative. You want to present positive, cheerful, supportive music in various ways, and you want the tone of your voice in singing or reading shouldn't be talking down to anybody. It should be, person to person, a holistic appreciation, if you will, of the young people that you are with, because regardless of how young they are, they're whole people with thoughts and feelings that are worthy of our respect. They have a dignity all their own. And if you approach them with that spirit, you can't go wrong.
I love that. Remembering that kids aren't less than, that they are whole people.
Right.
They deserve our respect and love. Yeah. And I think that that's a message that we teach our kids, to respect and love and care for everybody that they encounter. I think that's something that your message
So isn't it important then for us to model that as well? And I like to say, because children in their early years are the primary learners of humanity, if you think about it, because they're learning how it feels to be human. They're learning the sophisticated tasks of language acquisition, grammar and syntax, all of this in the playful mode of life. It's genius what's going on here. So how can we not be supportive and give them our best? I mean, it's really quite something. I call them our most valuable players.
Yes.
Children are the MVPs of society.
Absolutely. You've had such a long and storied career. Are there one or two moments that really stand out in your memory?
Probably several hundred. But there was this one time, I remember a concert I did in the 1980s in California, and it had gone really well, and people clapped a long time, and I came back on stage to do an encore. And just as the audience applause died down, a young voice from the front yelled out, "Why is he coming back?" Well, everybody laughed, But I didn't laugh. I knew that it was an important question. So I said, oh, good question. Sometimes when the concert goes really well and people want to hear more, they keep clapping. And that is a signal to me that I should come back. And that's why I came back, to sing another song. I took that moment to explain.
Yeah, what a beautiful thing to respect. Just what we were talking about, just to respect that this child had an honest question.
That's right.
It was funny, and at the moment you easily could have just ignored it and kind of moved on.
And before my last song, I had likely said, and to close the show, here's here's my last song type of thing, and here I am coming back. I thought it was a very reasonable question.
Yeah, and what a beautiful thing to have given that child the answer in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know one of the things that I became aware of is that you have a foundation for child honoring, the Raffi Foundation for Child Honoring. Can you tell us just a little bit about that before we go?
Child honoring is a philosophy I've developed. It came to me in a vision in 1997 and woke me from a sound sleep. Those two words, child honoring, floating in the air. I knew that it would be the work of the rest of my life. Child honoring as a philosophy, developing it, sharing it, now with my foundation, whose mission it is to advance child honoring as a universal ethic, has become, in a way, a second career for me. I co-edited and published an anthology of essays from 22 leading thinkers, all echoing their respect for the child honoring vision. The anthology is called Child Honoring, How to Turn This World Around. And the foreword is by the Dalai Lama. So I invite people to go to RaffiFoundation.org, have a look at what this child honoring philosophy is all about. There's a covenant for honoring children and 9 principles that arise from it. And there's an online course in child honoring that parents and educators can take. And those who've already taken it have given us a lot of good praise, have endorsed it. One parent said there was more child development wisdom in this course in one place than she'd seen anywhere else. So RaffiFoundation.org, there's a lot there waiting for you.
Wonderful. And before we go and before I ask you where folks can find out more about the new music project, we have so many of your fans who are now parents who listen to the show, and they're worried. They're worried about the pandemic. It seems to be coming to an end, but maybe it might come back, and what's going on in Europe right now. Do you have any words that might comfort them?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm still wearing my mask when I go out to stores, just as a precaution. I think precaution is good. We don't have to, worry about this stuff too much. If you feel like wearing your mask, do it. If you don't want, depending on where you live and what the guidelines, the public health guidelines are too, respect those guidelines, respect the science, respect vaccines. And I don't know, we're all muddling our way through, aren't we?
Yeah.
And those of us who are here, we're grateful to be in reasonably good health, and let's take good care and be as safe as we can.
Yes. And where can people go to find out more about Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times?
Well, I think it's already, that album is in your favorite streaming site, so you can ask for it by name, put it on your playlist, but the entire album won't be out till May. So right now you can concentrate on the song 3 Kind Mice.
Awesome.
That's the way to get into the album, because that's already out as a single and as a video. It's a cute little video.
Well, we've had a wonderful time speaking to the legendary performer, Raffi. My friend, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
The legendary Jed, it was a pleasure to speak with you.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids, and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. In the meantime, please connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram, and at Jedley Magic on X. You can follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. And of course, our website is readingwithyourkids.com. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Christina Perri. Please be sure to check out 1,000 Years. And also check out music from our friend Rafi. I want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty, Rory Grady, Stella Sheree, Megan Belcher. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.